and welcome to our interview with Johnny McCord, founder and CEO of Loadsure, and Matt Silver, VP of Partnerships and Strategic Alliances for Trucker Tools. My name is Tracy Neal. I'm on the marketing team at Trucker Tools, and I will be introducing our topic and our speakers today. In today's interview, you will learn how the partnership between Loadsure and Trucker Tools benefits you as a broker, how to add Loadsure insurance to your loads on the Trucker Tools platform, and the advantages Lodeshore offers to brokers and 3PLs. Now I'd like to introduce our speakers. Johnny McCord is a cargo insurance innovator focused on evolving centuries-old insurance traditions to deliver great efficiency and effectiveness to the market while holding onto a human-centric approach. His end-to-end digital cargo insurance solution, Lodeshore, was the only Lloyd's of London coverholder approved in 2019. It was also a Lloyd's Lab Selection 2021 Insurtech New York Early Stage Insurtech Competition winner, and a runner-up for Insurance Insider's 2020 Disruptor of the Year award. Previously a cargo broker with Lockheed Patrick and a founding member of Roanoke International, Johnny brings 18 years of cargo broking experience. And next, Matt Silver came to the freight industry over 8 years ago. Matt's endeavors in freight include working his way into the executive team of one of the fastest growing freight brokerages, taking a startup from conception to acquired in under a year, as well as restructuring a couple of mid-sized brokerages to be able to scale consistently. Matt has found and focused on the importance of building teams and utilizing the right technology so that we can focus on building relationships with our partners. And now I will hand it over to Matt to start our conversation.
Thank you, Tracy. And thank you, Johnny, for joining us today. To start things off, I wanted to ask you, what are you most passionate about in your work?
Thanks, Matt. And first of all, thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be here. It's a good question. What am I most passionate about? Making a difference, transforming insurance, making it more customer centric. I have been an insurance broker for the last 18 years, come from an insurance family, and not much has changed in the last 300 years, and the world has. So I want to make sure that insurance keeps up with the world, and I want to make sure that insurance is there to be customer centric. It's there to support industries, not create barriers to entry. And therefore my passion in delivering Lodeshore is to make insurance more simple to purchase, more cost efficient for the end user, but then also more accurately priced for our capacity to stop the rise of insurance year after year. So that is ultimately what I'm focused on, and that's what I'm most passionate about. I want to make sure that insurance is to enable customers to grow their business rather than hinder. Matt, obviously, that was a great question. I'd love to also hear what you're most passionate about in your work.
Yeah, there's a lot of things throughout my career I've learned, and the answer probably has changed a dozen times. But right now, one of the things that stands out to me and that I'm truly passionate about is helping bring some of these market differentiators or operational differentiators to the masses. I've spent a lot of my early career at companies where, we created something unique for ourselves and we didn't share it with anybody else. And we really shoehorned drivers into operating in a very specific manner rather than, taking the philosophy of the rising tide lifts all ships, right? And now that I'm at a company where we're agnostic to the driver and agnostic to the broker involved, we get to offer something that, helps everybody operate more efficiently. And that, that's the thing that I wake up every day feeling great about right now.
Awesome. Yeah.
Johnny, how is Loadshore different from traditional cargo insurance?
That's a great question. Traditional insurance is sold on an annualized basis. There is not the ability to purchase insurance at a transactional level. Well, not at a transactional level that is cost effective. So what Lodeshore brings to the market is the way to purchase insurance as and when you need it, not if you need it. So we provide insurance within the customer journeys of digital platforms, such as trucker tools. So it gives our users the ability to purchase insurance whilst they are transacting their freight movements. But we don't just stop there. Another differentiator is, we provide automated underwriting. So what that means is that we underwrite at that shipment level in real time. So each shipment has an individual risk score rather than applying an annual rate. And that ultimately enables us to be more accurate on our pricing and creating more affordable premiums on a transactional level. And being able to underwrite at that granular level ultimately means that you can provide near instant quotes rather than having to rely upon having to phone up your broker to purchase insurance through the traditional methods. It's there within your daily workflows. But also we've continued to simplify the purchase process, and also we've accelerated the way that claims are settled. So all in all, we are a far more automated digital process.
That's great. And you touched on differentiating transactional insurance from the big annual policies that some people might be a little more familiar with. Can you dive into that a little bit more?
Yeah, of course. So, I've been in the market for 18 plus years. We sold annual covers to a wide variety of customers. And it doesn't necessarily meet the needs of all customers. Annual covers are great for larger enterprises, but the SMEs of the world are then forced to purchase annual covers with large minimum premiums, which are obviously going to affect the customer's cash flows. And when your shipment levels are not as predictable, it's going to mean that you're going to have to wear that cost up front. So what transactional insurance ultimately does, it provides, as I've already said, the ability to purchase insurance when you need it, not if you need it. But because of our data-driven approach and removing the human cost, we are able to provide transactional insurance at this very cost-effective price.
That's great.
Matt, what does Trucker Tools offer brokers and 3PLs?
So there's a lot of moving pieces to it, but effectively it's a digital platform, and it helps brokers and 3PLs simplify communications with the carriers and meet the evolving needs of those shippers that are involved. Through our tool set, the brokerage can streamline employee workflows, which increases the productivity, minimizing the cost to cover a load. With our digital load tracking, digital freight matching, and Book It Now, that's kind of the core offering that we have out there. We have a carrier-friendly driver app that helps keep carriers engaged with the brokerage. So they're going to see all of the load tracking from the driver. It's clear to the driver when they're being tracked, which is a big differentiation point for us. One of the biggest things with Book It Now is brokerages can now put their freight out to the drivers 24 hours a day and 7 days a week, so those drivers can access that load.
Excellent.
Johnny, I wanted to ask you, what advantages does Loadshore offer brokers and 3PLs?
Well, if we look at the rising cost of insurance, it's becoming unsustainable for a lot of stakeholders. We've already mentioned that the large annual covers are expensive and very time consuming to operate, but ultimately can cut into a broker's and a 3PL's profitability. Possibly being unable to use capacity until insurance is in place. And as brokers and 3PLs operate in this very time-consuming and time-critical environment, insurance needs to operate in that way too. So what we do is we bring the availability of insurance at that load level. So you don't need to call your broker to add insurance. Your broker not only has to liaise with you as the freight broker, but the insurance broker then has to liaise with the underwriter to add additional risks if needed. That is, potentially a 24-hour turnaround. That isn't available, and ultimately that can cost you that load. So what we've done is obviously simply provided the ability to buy additional insurance at a click of a button. And obviously the traditional insurance processes require a lot of manpower, as we mentioned. And we just don't have that time in this very time critical market. So this is why we have changed the way that insurance is distributed, and by harnessing predictive analytics, we fully automated the process and been able to deliver real-time dynamic pricing just so that you can secure that coverage in literally clicks. Matt, a really interesting question for myself and obviously the audience would be to understand why Trucker Tools chose to partner with Lodeshore.
That's a great question. And, in full disclosure, we always take the lead of our customers, right? So we're always looking to improve the efficiency for our users, meet the needs of the brokers and the 3PLs that are on our platforms. One of the things that consistently came up was, when will you be offering an insurance product? And, as we started looking at various providers out there, what you guys brought to the table just in knowledge of the industry, in capability and speed to transact. I know you've touched on that, and that's so true and so different. In my past, I've been through those 24-hour cycles where, we're hoping to get the insurance quote back so we can give it to a customer. And we've lost the truck, we've lost the load. So we're always trying to put everything that an operations team would need in one place. We've talked about your ease of use, being able to digitize the process and make it as simple as possible. These integrations that we have with you are really what are creating all of the efficiency, and we get to pass that on to all of the users of our platform. And that's simply why we chose you guys. It's a fantastic product, and it's ever evolving, and it's moving at least at the speed of business today. So Johnny, what claim trends are you guys seeing today?
There is a lot of trends out there, hence why it's so important to have all risk cargo insurance. I think we should start with weather events first of all. These weather events that are occurring, especially in the United States, are becoming more and more severe and more frequent. So there's certainly been an increase in claims activity due to these severe weather events. Obviously, we've all been hit worldwide by COVID. That has massively affected the supply chain. And obviously with the supply chain being so badly affected, and the lack of products that are available, such as toilet paper. Still don't quite understand why there was a shortage of toilet paper, but toilet paper, sanitizing wipes, household goods, there was big shortages, and there has been a big increase of activity with regards to targeting these commodities and household goods, also including appliances. Obviously, cargo thieves have increasingly targeted these commodities, but also last year especially we saw a massive increase in pilferage. Predominantly 20% of cargo thefts were through pilferage. And I think the other big trend that has really sort of been highlighted recently is fictitious pickups. We've seen a rise, a big spike of around 163%, and this is public data that is really sort of highlighted the organised crime activity that is out there and how sophisticated the organised crime groups are becoming. Matt, another question that I wanted to pose is, how does the partnership between Trucker Tools and Loadshore benefit brokers and 3PLs?
Great question. With Lodeshore, the users on our platform can quickly insure loads on a load by load basis, right? They don't need to get those annual policies. It gives them a little bit of flexibility in customizing the cargo insurance according to the load situation, the shipper, the carrier. There's a lot of factors that we all know that go into it. In my past, it was always excluded commodities, or we found a driver and he just didn't have the proper limitations that we needed to move it. So with Loadshore, super easy for our brokers and 3PL users. They can just click right through, get quotes on loads. They can file claims, and also get the claim payments nice and easy. And they're going to spend less time dealing with these cargo insurance quotes, especially if there is a claim. That process we all know through Carmack is extensively long. And then getting paid, settling with the customer, the freight owner, so they can continue moving that freight. All of these things play into the tremendous benefit that all of our users are going to see through our partnership with you guys. Carrying off of that, Johnny, I wanted to, we mentioned it's easy and quick to file a claim, but how does that process work with Loadshore?
Absolutely. So if we look at the traditional claims filing process, a lot of our stakeholders will have a huge file of claims building up on their desks because of how time consuming the claim process is in the traditional sense. So this is one area that Loadshore have really focused on and put a lot of energy into getting right and making it far more efficient. So the short answer is that we can settle claims in near real time. We have a very sophisticated automated claims system which provides an electronic first notice of loss form fully embedded within the certificate of insurance or through the Loadshore dashboard or through our partners dashboard. And on submitting the required information, which is ultimately a very simple application form, providing the relevant documentations, that will then be submitted into our system, and through our technology that will be vetted and processed, and upon approval of settlement, then that claim will then be paid to the claimant. One thing that we have to also focus is that our approach is data driven. Our claim settlement system is learning every day from all our data. We also need to acknowledge that cargo claims are very complex, And so not all cargo claims can be automated. Some cargo claims are so complex we will need a human element, and therefore Lodeshore have identified that need, and we will and do have the TPAs that we work with that will handle the more complex claims as and when required. But going back to the question, ultimately we can settle claims in near real time. But if a claim is more complex, we will still reduce the claims handling process through the system, even with a TPA's involvement.
That's great.
Matt, how do brokers and 3PLs add Loadshore cargo insurance to a load within Trucker Tools software platform?
So for the users, it's very simple, right? We've done so much work on the back end connecting to the broker's TMS. So we're pulling all of the load information that you guys are going to need in order to quote the load right into our web portal. And once the broker is in there, all they have to do is click on the Lodeshore icon that's going to be presented within their load. Because we've done the hard work of pulling in all of that load data via API, they're going to be presented immediately with any errors. So any data that doesn't match, where they just need to clean it up, select from a dropdown so it is conformed. But the price is presented right there. So it is genuinely just a matter of clicking a couple buttons. We've done all of the hard work there. We also have a version of it coming into the mobile app so that drivers will also be able to take a look at what the cost would be if they wanted to insure something directly through you guys. So again, all of the hard work is handled on the back end by our company and by your company. And for our users, click a couple buttons and they'll be able to see the price of that policy right there. Johnny, I know we've chatted a lot in the past leading up to where we are today about the advantages that your product brings to brokers and 3PLs, but for our audience, can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, of course. There's a lot of pain points in insurance today. Clearly we don't have enough time to go through all the pain points, but one of them is the rising cost of insurance. The way that insurance is distributed today, the products are fairly one-dimensional. Annual covers are very large, clunky, expensive to purchase and operate. There's other pain points that when insurance isn't in place, it basically hinders the opportunity to use certain capacity because of the requirements of a particular commodity to be moved may be excluded, and then also the time critical environment that the supply chain works in, and insurance isn't necessarily up to speed and can't keep to the time sensitive environment. So what Lodeshore ultimately brings is the ability to access insurance instantly, to be able to add per load insurance. So there's no need to phone your insurance broker to underwrite an additional risk. It's just a very time consuming process and very costly, because not only have you got a very large AP, but you've also going to potentially lose that load. So with our product, with a single click, you have your load insured. The traditional insurance processes require a lot of manpower that takes up a lot of time, and that's what we're changing. We're using predictive analytics to automate the whole process to deliver this real-time dynamic solution. And I think one of the most important things is insurance is only as good as the paper that it's written on. Lodeshore brings the industry A-rated security. It also brings a data-driven approach to underwriting to make sure that you're more accurately assessing your risk and helping you radically reduce your cover and your cover premiums. And we do that through our algorithms, and our algorithms become smarter, and as they become smarter and able to adapt to you as a customer, we will ultimately eliminate the need for annual covers entirely. But we also empower you to reduce the carrier and the shipper's risk. So from a customer service perspective, this should help accelerate sales and cross-sell other products. But it helps build relationships ultimately, and it goes back to our point that Lodeshore is customer centric. We're here to work with the industry and help the industry build and have the support of insurance rather than insurance being a barrier to entry.
Really appreciate you sharing that. Before we wrap up today, wanted to thank everybody for taking the time to watch this. We know insurance is one of those topics that is a necessary evil, unfortunately, for a lot of the brokerages out there, but it is one of those things that can absolutely separate how you operate your business. So thank you for joining us today. Johnny, really appreciate connecting with you as always. It's always fun to pick your mind and share what we're up to on our side of the fence.
Well, Matt, thank you for having me, and super excited about this partnership. I'm super excited to be delivering this value-added service to your customers, helping to protect the industry and to make the industry operate as smoothly and as efficiently as it should.
Absolutely. And for anybody who's got additional questions, Johnny and I are definitely available. For our company, you can always go to our website or submit a question just to sales@truckertools.com. Johnny, is there an easy email address for people to get in contact with you guys?
Yes, absolutely. All our information's on our website at www.loadshore.net, and any questions, please file them to info@loadshore.net.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Thanks very much, everyone.